How about it? We're on again. We love this. We love this podcasting thing, this webcasting thing, don't we? Feels like we're on TV or something, or on the radio, like a shock jock or something, man. Hi, everybody. It's October 24, 2023. It's just after 12:30 in the afternoon on this fine fall day here in the Down Beach area. As everybody gets on the webcast here, just wanted to remind everybody that we love short-term rentals. We love STRs, short-term rentals. One caveat, though. We love short-term rentals when they're run properly, when they are appropriately integrated into the community, when they are lawfully integrated into a town or a neighborhood. We love STRs when that happens. We love STRs, short-term rentals, when they're run by professionals who live on the property or in the same town. The pros. We love them. They are the future of Brigantine and Margate and Ventnor. But some towns, they don't want they don't want restrictions. They don't have time for that. Like, that's why I want to do a little comparison between Brigantine and Ventnor, right? Let me turn down the volume here. Hold on. Still working on this short-term thing, the short-term podcast thing. So I want to compare Brigantine and Ventnor because they're pretty close in a couple different ways. They were both kind of late to the party to put some type of restrictions on short-term rentals. Brigantine just put a 2-night rental minimum just a few nights ago. After all that back and forth, just 2 nights. And you don't have to live anywhere near your property, whether you or your contact. They could be anywhere. Whereas in Ventnor, it's a 3-night minimum, and you got to live in Ventnor or have a contact in Ventnor to take care of problem properties. Another interesting fact is Mayor Lance Landgraf, the mayor of Ventnor. He's on the planning board for the city of Brigantine, but for some reason, Brigantine doesn't take his advice. That's unfortunate. So, where do I start next? You know what? I will go back to my favorite video. This says it all.
Looking at as a business, I think this ordinance is negatively impacting the actual business owners who are running and want to be a good standing member of their street, of their community, of the town here. And I don't think it actually addresses the problem of the party houses. I think it unfairly hurts the business owners.
Everyone has to understand, you guys are operating businesses in a residential neighborhood. So people live there, they live there year round, they may come here for the summer, and then they have to live next to a property that's being rented out every other day, with people coming home 2-3 o'clock in the morning, taking up all the parking spaces, and then turning over again after a couple of days. So we have to balance up.
Okay.
What we're trying to do is find a way to make it fair to both sides. I know you guys don't think it's fair. The residents don't think it's fair that they have to put up with basically a hotel next to them 365 days a year.
So, maybe we do like,
It's
having a 1-night
weekend, not even beach block, right around the theater.
The best parts
5
of this
houses
clip.
and areas
friend,
we're not allowed to have.
The very
It's,
awesome
again,
Diane
support.
Burke.
Residential street that
Check
you're
this
not
out.
dealing
Like
with
this.
parking. You're not dealing with the amount of people you're having on that street, and you're turning it over every 4 to 5 days.
Sure.
So that's what's a problem.
I want to again support your view that these are businesses that are being run in residential neighborhoods. When I bought my house, it was very clear that it was a residential neighborhood, that only Atlantic and Ventnor Avenue was allowed to have an office in their house, that only had a couple people that would come there or not. They weren't allowed to have, like a storefront.
So that gives you some idea that Ventnor has their act together. Just one more time to see how we can compare Ventnor's short-term rental management to Brigantine's so-called short-term rental management.
I currently manage 5 units here in Ventnor.
Okay, so I can just tell you, because I do this in all over the country.
Yep.
If you take a 3-bedroom, if you limit it to 5 nights, you're basically cutting out short-term rentals here in the off season.
these are businesses and they've got to be licensed.
My company, we have about 28, 29 rentals across the shore. My average stay is 4.2 nights. Looking at as a business, I think this ordinance is negatively impacting the actual business owners who are running and want to be a good standing member of their street, of their community, of the town here. And I don't think it actually addresses the problem of the party houses. I think it unfairly hurts the business owners.
Everyone has to understand, you guys are operating businesses in a residential neighborhood. So people live there. They live there year round. They may come here for the summer.
It's interesting to see business owners, investors, speculators from the outside, not living in a community, berating the commissioners or Mayor Landgraf. How dare you? I'm a businessman. I know how to run a business. I have 30 properties in the area. But this, at least Ventnor is so transparent. They got the video, the audio. You can comment. And we get to see exactly how measured the city of Ventnor was, weighing both sides, smacking down businesses that were indignant. How dare you place more than a 1 or a 2 night rental minimum? Do you know how much I've invested in your town? I'm over here in Florida just checking out all my properties, all my doors. And the reason I bring up, like I said, showing off Lance Landgraf, it's tough, especially with a guy like me, videotaping everything. But transparency is the best. You get to see them working hard. Where other towns like Margate, they hide their meetings. They don't put video. You can't really chime in with a public comment. Neither is Longport. Brigantine's not too good either. Any town that blocks access to watching these meetings or blocks access to publicly comment from wherever you are, you think that's good? Mayor Nick Russo, that's you. Michael Collins and Mayor of Margate, you didn't tell the truth. You promised full transparency and you haven't delivered yet. And very few towns actually live stream their planning board meetings. Very few towns live stream their planning board meetings where all the action happens, where all the action occurs. Commissioner meetings and council meetings are good, but where's the real action? Council meetings? Nah, it's the planning board meetings. They allow you to put that pool in right there up against the property line. You can go as high as you want. What do you need? More density in that corner? Your condo or your bungalow that you've had in your family for generations? You're going to have a McMansion right next to you, man. They're going to dig deep for the pool. It's going to mess up your drainage. Don't worry about that. So the next step, I thought I'd go to something like AirDNA. It's an online site that keeps track of the transactions of VRBO and I think HomeAway and maybe Airbnb, but it's only a snapshot. There's many more platforms and many more ways that people are conducting transactions for short-term rentals. So it's not just Airbnb. It's not just VRBO. People can have their own sites. They can have their own social media. Nobody has a real good handle on how to track every short-term rental along the shore. It's like a cat and mouse game. So let's zoom in on our good friends. Let's go to Brigantine. Go to AirDNA. Can you see these orange dots? Maybe you got 12 or 15 of them. Maybe I can zoom in better. This is Brigantine. These are all the houses that AirDNA can identify as for sale. Let's click the button in Brigantine that says, how many STR, short-term rental listings, are there in Brigantine? Hit that button. There you go. What's that tell you? The blue are all the short-term rentals that are identifiable from the fine folks at AirDNA. We turn that off, we get to see the for sale. 12, 13, 14, 15 maybe. As a realtor, do you like that? How does that make you feel? Unless you're connected to all the blue dots, right? And all those blue dots, they're paying They're paying business taxes, right? No, they're not. No. Maybe they have a mercantile license or some kind of permit. They're businesses, and I think a lot of the professional operators of short-term rentals, they'd be totally cool with living with strict rules and regulations and costs. Get rid of the riffraff at the lower end, the people that jumped in. I'm going to be an Airbnb person. Oversaturated the market with a lot of inventory. And you know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen. All that inventory is going to make people nuts. Lowering the rates. Maybe not vetting as good as they should. Anyway, that's where that is. AirDNA. Oh, there's some good stuff here. The free version of AirDNA gives you some idea. I wouldn't trust this 100%, but at least it gives you some concept of the overview of Brigantine in regards to short-term rentals. Same thing with Zillow. Look at Zillow, but don't trust everything about Zillow. You see what I'm saying? So right now that AirDNA says there's about 769 available listings. What are the most common listings? It's, I think it's right here. It's 1 and 2 night stays. So just about 50% of transactions are 1 and 2 night stays, presumably the weekend. And then as we go up, 3 nights, 4 nights, 16%, 13% for 6 nights. Another interesting thing here at AirDNA in regards to short-term rentals and Brigantine Beach. Who are the largest property managers? Brigantine's Vince Serra, the mayor, and our good friend Tiger Platt, city manager from Absecon, with no skin in the game. I always say that because if Tiger Platt, the city manager, lived in Brigantine, he would be more measured in how he talked about short-term rentals. He doesn't have to really feel the ramifications of his decisions, and he's the guy that decides who's a good short-term renter and who's a bad one. He's the guy that's going to talk about violations and see if you're running a nuisance property. It's a bad move. Anyway, getting back to the property manager thing. A company by the name of Evolve currently has 36 listings in the city of Brigantine. It's a good company. It does managing of properties that people, you own these properties in Brigantine. You don't want to do it, so you hire a company like Evolve. 36 are in Brigantine. Probably going to grow because these companies are proving that it might make sense to turn your house into a business. There's no way the city of Brigantine is going to get a handle on this, to be able to monitor all this. Realtors, real estate folks in Brigantine, I would presume, they want to speak up, but they can't for some reason. They're invisible. Same thing with most businesses in the business chamber. Quiet. Man, oh Shevitz. I tell you. No one's speaking up, and the town's changing. But like we said, we like the idea of short-term rentals when they're properly managed, when they're lawfully managed based on zoning. Based on zoning. And there's that company called Evolve. Vacation rental management just got better. See if you qualify. These are great companies, great businesses. If you own property in Brigantine, you should certainly consider this, especially if you're being surrounded by commercial properties renting out on a nightly basis. Adjust your sail depending on how the wind is. Because Brigantine is going to really be known as one of the final frontiers in knock yourself out. Let's turn this into Fort Lauderdale spring break type of a vibe. And that could be very good. That's if you want to do that. A lot of these landlords, a lot of these homeowners are saying, they're going to be underwater too. Some will be saying, oh my God, what do we get ourselves involved with? What? Our taxes are up that high? What? Insurance? Whoa. Don't worry, we can Airbnb this thing. Starting January 1st, 2024, those new rules go into effect. Why can't they go in effect now? Why are those new ordinance changes, the amendment, why isn't it going into effect now? We got to wait 2.5 months till January 1st? Why is that? I don't get things done fast. I get them done right. Stupid. Stupid. The world's most stupid phrase. That's Mayor Vince Sarah's phrase. Why are they pushing it back to Jan 1? Most likely to grandfather in deals, more deals for the summer of 2024. I don't know. Anyway, we got that. What was the other thing I wanted to show you? Well, I kind of think that was the game plan here, just to show that Ventnor.
And then they have to live next to a property that's being rented out every other day.
I currently manage 5 units here in Ventnor.
Okay, so I mean, I can just tell you, because I do this in all over the country. If you take a 3-bedroom, if you limit it to 5 nights, you're basically cutting out short-term rentals here in the off season.
These are businesses and they've got to be licensed.
My company, we have about 28, 29 rentals across the shore. My average stay is 4.2 nights. Looking at as a business, I think this ordinance is negatively impacting the actual business owners who are running and want to be a good standing member of their street, of their community, of the town here. And I don't think it actually addresses the problem of the party houses. I think it unfairly hurts the business owners.
Everyone has to understand, you guys are operating businesses in a residential neighborhood.
I wonder how many times Mayor Lance Landgraf of Ventnor has said that at the Brigantine planning board meetings. Mayor Lance Landgraf of Ventnor, he is a part of the planning board on over there in Brigantine. It's a business. It's a business. Zoning, planning. You guys keeping track of that stuff? I have some good slides here. I thought that, what's the one thing that's driving people crazy here? Is this legal? As we compare Brigantine to Ventnor. Let's see here. Now in Brigantine, they have this thing called the A zone, right? Everybody wants to be in the A zone. Let me zoom in here a little bit. If you Google what is Brigantine's A zone, it says Brigantine's A zone is considered the area near the middle of town, and most would agree. This is premium real estate. The Brigantine A zone streets would be between the 15th Street South to 30th Street. From the ocean to the bay, there are no commercial, condo, or multifamily properties in the A zone. That's why I was saying, man, you got to start disclosing to people how this ordinance is going to change things. Not for good or bad, it's just going to change things. If you're buying, thinking about investing in Brigantine, there's some great opportunities, but things are fluid. And if you watch any of the videos and our coverage of short-term rental debate at Brigantine City Council, you really get the sense there's chaos there. There's nobody that seems to have a handle on this. Nobody can talk about it intelligently, this short-term rental thing. The Brigantine people, the Brigantine leadership, it's almost like they either did a lot of research and keeping it hush-hush, or they really, it's like cramming for an exam the very next morning. Oh, I had to read that and study that. There's nobody in Brigantine that sounds like they really got a good handle on this. The mayor talks, everybody keeps their mouth shut. Getting back to the difference between Brigantine and Ventnor, Brigantine's mayor is like the king. Everybody shuts up. Nobody says nothing. Because, of course, the mayor of Brigantine appoints the school board, the planning board, and keeps everybody in line. Even Rick DeLucre, Councilman Rick DeLucre of Brigantine. Smart guy. What's he do during the day? His day job? He's a land use attorney. He's on city council of Brigantine. How come he's not chiming in? Just saying. Oh, by the way, I did get an email. It says, who the hell is in charge of the short-term rental project, which starts January 1? Who is that one person that's in charge? They know everything. They're the boss, kind of like the head of the Department of Public Works, head of the school district. Who's in charge of the short-term rental industry? It's a big one. It really is the future of Brigantine. Who is that person? We don't know about that. Anyway, going back to this. Brigantine, the area, it's called the A-Zone, middle of town, premium real estate. The Brigantine A-Zone would be between 15th and 30th from the ocean to the bay. There's no commercial condo or multifamily properties in the A-Zone, but there is commercial properties in the A-Zone. Matter of fact, the last vote from City Council allowed the entire island of Brigantine to be mixed use, kinda, sorta. It's a mixture of commercial, retail, residential. There's a lot of real estate blogs, investors, and they're talking about, hey, where's the next place where I can spend some money to build up my Airbnb short-term rental business? Which towns are still, is it easy to get into? And Brigantine is brought up a lot. Hey, so some guy says, hey, before buying, just make sure that you research the local ordinances, et cetera, around short-term rentals. The last thing you want to do is buy something somewhere where the laws are not clear, and then eventually STRs become illegal or restricted. Yeah, it's unclear in Brigantine about how they're going to enforce it. It's 22 pages of rules that very few can really explain clearly. Nobody can explain it clearly, especially the city manager. City manager should know this inside and out, but he doesn't. That's Tiger Platt from Absecon, who doesn't live in Brigantine, so he doesn't have to be accountable and, kind of experience the bad decision making. So another comment, our place is a single family home in Brigantine. It's Brigantine's very much a throwback to the old Jersey shore towns. It's quiet, safe, friendly, not even overbuilt yet. It's the kind of place where your kids can ride their bikes or walk anywhere without worrying about them being run over by traffic. So if you want to hustle and bustle of a boardwalk or dozens of restaurants and shops to go to, well, it's not the place for you, Brigantine. But if your idea of relaxation is sitting on a mostly empty beach or maybe playing some mini golf, hitting up the ice cream shops, I don't think you can find a better place than Brigantine. When we bought it a few years ago, our kids were teenagers at the time, and they were a little disappointed, but now it's better. There's a lot of people that are well-known people in Brigantine. They don't like this stuff. Former council people don't like this stuff. Pillars of the community, everywhere, but they're all scared. But a few people are starting to step up. Like Rosemarie Ricardo. Letting them have it, Vincent. Anyway, I don't want to get too far into that thing. It's really important that a city hires people and not just their friends, a bunch of retreads. You got to hire professionals, especially when you got a burgeoning industry, short-term rentals right there, ready to rock and roll. Do you really want to hire somebody who's your buddy? Like for the city manager position in Brigantine, hiring Tiger Platt with no background. Is he certified? If you take a look at Jim Bennett, the previous city manager of Brigantine, it looks here that he is a certified public manager. Not exactly sure what that entails, but we never got a job description for the city manager, what he does, or whether he's certified. But he certainly signs off on a lot of overtime. He should be knowing about the short-term rental thing. Or is it Jack Murray, the fire official? We don't know. Too many people in Brigantine following that bug truck. I did it too. Right. All right. I think that's really unfortunate, Brigantine's becoming mixed use. You really got to tax these businesses as a business. The IRS makes you do that. How they're doing that 1.25% fee for the transactions online, that's not going to cover all the transactions. Then enforcement by some guy from Absecon, and he gets to decide what a nuisance property is, what a substantiated complaint is, which ones get in front of a judge. Why are you just sitting there? He's the wrong guy. No businesses talk publicly about the good and the bad. They know. They want year-round residency. They want year-round residency. They like the 15-weekend crush, but a lot of those parties, they don't come in and shop at their stores. They're not telling you the truth about the downside of who's behind the push for short-term rentals having almost no restrictions. It's a lot of small businesses who make a lot of money in the summer only. They don't even live here. And they're using that cash to build houses right up against your property line, baby. And the real estate executives, you're going to get hosed big time unless you're, connected somewhat. The real estate execs, they got to deal with the disclosure. Are you telling people what's going on, how these ordinances will affect their ability to buy into a quiet neighborhood? How do you tell a potential buyer that everywhere in Brigantine, a nice bungalow can get bulldozed and a massive 10-bedroom animal house can be built right next to you, right up to the property line? Don't worry about the runoff and the water. It's permeable space. What's that? They're not telling you that. No Jack Murray. Who's in charge of the short-term rentals? Is Jack the fire official? Rick DeLucre, he's a land use attorney. He's on city council, city council. He doesn't really share, but Rick DeLucre knows all about this stuff. The subleases, the management companies, they're not going to get a handle on that. Are they going to share the names behind the LLCs? Yeah, are they? Are all these properties properly insured? Absentee landlords, that's the problem. The planning board meetings are not on Zoom. They're not live. People the leaders of these towns don't want you to see how they're making the sausage. 1 and 2 bedrooms, they could be problematic as well. All right. I hope you enjoyed the short-term rental comparison between Brigantine and Ventnor. Thank you very much. Okay.